Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good night, and welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And we're excited to be here.
Listen, thanks for checking in.
Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And G, we are back. Oh, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited. One of our own from our hometown, New Haven, Connecticut, introducing to the world the Elements. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Well, yes, beauty on screen. I love it.
Can we hear it? Can we hear them?
Yeah.
Greetings.
There you go, guys. There you go.
Why don't we start with just introducing yourselves by name? We'll start with you, Shayla, just to go across so the audience knows who y'all are.
Well, we're in chronicle order.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am Shayla Streeter, aka Earth.
Uh-huh.
I bring yes.
Hafiza Teray, aka Wind.
Okay.
Artist Santana, Fire.
Sounds right.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes,
I love it.
yes.
I love it. I love it. So I'm excited about this interview because Gigi, first of all, have spoken about you guys. She was very excited. She said, Teef, when we first did this podcast, she said, listen, I got a group that I really want to bring on. They're called the Elements. And I said, the who? And she said, the Elements. And Teef, these girls are dope. So I said to her, like I do with everyone, I said, listen, don't tell me anything. I want it to be organic. So I really don't know anything about the Elements. So because G didn't tell me anything, I just said, okay, I want it to be organic. So I want you to share the Elements to the world. Tell us everything. Give us your background. Give us your background.
We do. That's a good place to start.
All right.
So pretty much I'll start. So I'm Earth. I bring sort of the advocate, connector, and sort of through this meaningful and loving relationship through food.
Okay.
So to bring forth food and foodie, I'm a foodie companion. Like to discuss about nutrition with families. So anytime we do an event, I curate the food, making sure it's holistic, and that type of thing. So
Okay. Okay.
Wind, Hafiza Teray. As far as what I bring to the collective, as Wind would suggest, I'm kind of just breezing all over the place. But I definitely bring more of the wellness component to it, spirituality, health and wellness, and also the economic development portion. I think, we're all kind of serial entrepreneurs in our own way, but I definitely tap in and like to connect people and bring them together with their various skill sets.
Oh, I
Beautiful.
love that. I love
Thank you.
Yeah. And Fire.
Fire. I am the educator, the one who says what the rest are thinking but won't. I bring the cocktails when I like to, we like to get together and do adult beverages. I'm known to be a mixologist when we come together.
Yeah.
The educational piece, the any written work we need. That's what I do.
Okay.
And it just melds.
Okay.
It just,
Now, do you guys go to different events, like around the community within New Haven, Greater New Haven, and speak in regards
Who's
to
gonna give the mission statement? Somebody get look Fire.
Right. So the mission, the vision of the Elements is we restore Indigenous values within communal existences.
Okay.
We do that. We curate these experiences, right?
Mhm.
Our experiences fall generally within in three, they like to say 4 categories, but we started with breaking bread, right? Breaking bread was what brought us together, what created a friendship. We weren't the Elements first. We were just 3 mothers who found relief in getting together what started as Wednesday turned into Friday. And that was, well, what's in your cabinet? What's in your refrigerator? Let's go to whoever's house, bring what you have. We cook together. We all have children from, toddlers up from having met, because this is a 10-year friendship.
Yeah.
And to that. So young children up to teenagers. So they pretty much entertain themselves, play together, take care of each other, with the older ones overseeing that while we can cook, eat, plan, have a glass of wine, and woosah at the end of the day. So even together, we're breaking bread together, and it became, how do we bring our lifestyle, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
We're doing everything we do is a part of who we are.
Okay.
So how do we bring that to the masses? How do we share the divinity in this sisterhood with people and reflect it onto our brothers who also need a brotherhood? We advocate for you all finding your brotherhoods. So we begin curating experiences to bring those areas. The 3 categories are connect and build. That's your networking, connecting businesses to businesses, businesses to community. Then you have restoration. That's the wellness piece. At a wellness piece, restoration, there's no alcohol, there's no wine. You are eating to live. You're exploring new healthy foods. You are having irregular acupuncture. You are possibly getting a mini Zola experience, wellness session. You're drinking teas that are elixirs and aphrodisiacs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's what's happening at a restoration situation. And then we have indulge. Right. So indulge is just what it's right. So that's what indulge is. And that's where you indulge. You know, we seek to speak to we want to stimulate all of the senses, all 6 of them. Right. And there's something for everybody. So breaking bread is a few communal event now that we do in the park when the weather permits. So that's, you know, grab your dinner, grab your lunch, bring the family, and let's break bread together at wherever we designate. The other events are wherever we find a venue that fits the atmosphere and the ambiance that we want to create, because again, we're creating experiences.
Okay.
With the goal. And then we go to others events because it's an exchange. So we show up where people request us, we show up where we think we need to be, if it's in support of arts and culture.
And in alignment with our overall vision.
So talk a little bit more about the arts and culture, because what I'm hearing, right, a lot of what you're saying is definitely culture, right? Understanding the sisterhood and the food and the health and even the indulgence. Tell us what you do in the area of the arts a little bit.
Oh, I think what we saw last night was indicative of that question. So we are going to be participating in the International Festival of Arts and Ideas.
Congratulations. That's wonderful news.
And where's that located? Because we're national. Where's that located?
That's going to be on the Green, downtown New Haven, June 13th at 12 p.m.
All right.
And that is really connecting the community to the diaspora. So we had the opportunity to connect with a queen from Ghana who lives here in the States, and she's developing a nonprofit that really connects and makes like a sister city kind of relationship between here and Ghana. So one of the things, in addition to the education aspect that Sage Academy brings to it, is going to be just the connection in, you know, we have, as melanated beings, we have a certain swag about us that we bring into every situation. So that is something that can be historically documented. So what we're doing is fusing, you know, where we are, our fashion sense, you know, the things that we bring with the chronological order of the Ghanaian historical garments and jewelry. If you see, they are draped in gold. When
it's all symbolic.
Yes,
it's all symbolic. The fabrics they wear, the jewelry they wear, particularly
the
if they're
patterns
of royalty, it all means something. So merging art with culture.
Beautiful.
And that's culminating, though, to get to your question, Gigi, where does the art come in, would be probably our first indulge event. That's the hugest. I mean, this is the hugest event we're curating so far. Indulge, which will be on Saturday, June 17th, where we're merging all of the arts, including culinary arts. Like this is an experience where when we say we're titillating and tantalizing all of the senses. So you'll experience culinary arts, visual arts, performance art, all in one space.
Yes.
All right. And as an educator, art is intrinsic to the academic achievement of a child. You know, we are, art is natural. Like you make
We're
art
creators.
to survive,
We are artists.
to exchange, you know, a wicker bowl, a wooden bowl, a wicker bowl, a wood cutting board. That's art.
Right.
Okay.
So you know what? Because you talk about the education component, and you briefly mentioned Sage Academy. You'll find this interview will fly by. Why don't you take an opportunity to say a little bit about what Sage Academy is?
Okay, so Sage Academy is my offer to a solution. It's a private or independent alternative to traditional school settings. that serves learners 6 to 17 years old. SAGE stands for Science, Arts, History, Government, and Economics. SAGE is for the family who wants to homeschool but can't, whether that's because your job won't allow you to, whether it's because you feel that you don't have the intellectual capacity to do so. Those are the two reasons that, market surveys reveal and why parents can't homeschool but want to, be in response to what's happening in the public system right now, right? So you have families who believe in natural immunity. They don't want their children vaccinated. SAGE Academy is for you. There's families who believe it's not a school's place to teach my children about sexuality and gender. SAGE Academy is for you. I personally created SAGE Academy for all of those reasons, quite frankly, and to address what's not happening in terms of curriculum. Since No Child Left Behind legislation, where I taught in public schools under those policies, and what almost burned the passion out of me for education was the arts and was civic education. So I learned that less than 25% of our nation's 8th graders are proficient in civic education.
Yeah, it's not a thing. It's not a thing in the classroom.
It's not a thing. And it's not assessed in 12th grade. But if you look at mission statements of schools across the country, they all talk about producing, productive citizens and producing good citizens. Yet you're not teaching, what a good citizen is. We're not learning the way our government works. And we believe that just your civic literacy is enough to sort of heal some of the trauma and the racial, all of the isms that we're experiencing. Just awareness in your civic processes and duties and the way your system works will help alleviate some of that. We have to learn to be, we're too emotional as a people. We're responding to everything out of emotion and trauma instead of information and facts.
So I want you to stay right there. But so for the person watching, I want you guys to give us your background in regards to, so everyone sitting back listening, tell us your education and where'd you go to school, where'd you study? People want to know that. They're watching and saying, okay, I'm watching these girls' teeth, but who are they? Tell us who you are. Where'd you go to school? I want to know. That's what I want to know.
So let's go back down the line.
Right. So for me, Shayla, I went to State College, Eastern, major in sports management, completely not in something that I wanted to do, but I enjoyed sports. And then from there, I learned about mental, physical, and spiritual. Like I never knew what that meant. And so that pretty much took me on a journey, learning about what those three mean. What does mental, spiritual, and physical mean? And so, fast forward, I went to grad school, went to Southern, again, went to administrative parks and recreation because I enjoy recreation. But then I learned a passion for food. I call myself a foodie companion. And so I am. And so I went on this journey of learning about food. And when I got pregnant with my third child, I wound up having a health issue. I had congestive heart failure. And I learned through food that I healed myself.
Yes.
And so that started my journey about studying food, how to heal yourself. Like food is thy medicine, which is true. And so that created this sort of like passion around food. And when I say I call myself a foodie conscious eater, is because I look at the ingredients. So we look at people and wonder why they're so sick. It's because they're pretty much they're putting all these ingredients in our food that's making us so unhealthy, right? We have high rise of cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure and all those different things, heart failure and things like that, stroke. And so looking at all of that, we can reverse all of those diseases by just eliminating certain foods and implementing whole foods, right? And so that was my journey. And so I call myself the conscious eater because yes, I am about reading ingredients and putting things.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Hafiza. I have an interesting background. I am an accountant by profession, but that's not my passion. So like a lot of people, you go to school. I went to Norfolk State down in Virginia.
Rep it.
Yeah, you're right, little plug. But again, it was practical, right? I come from entrepreneurs, so it was my father who kind of introduced me to even the idea of becoming an accountant. And at the time, like in the late 90s, it was like, all accountants didn't look like me. And this was an opportunity for you to kind of get into a space where there was a need. So I met with an accountant and everything, shared with me what his day was like and those sorts of things. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll be an accountant major. So, it was like the whole math and money was kind of how it was sold to me. So did that, graduated with honors, did well. It gave me an opportunity to, kind of establish myself. I went to DC after that, started working for various organizations, one of them being Radio One in DC, was one of my first jobs out of college. So I got to see like various aspects of how businesses run from the inside out. And that allowed me to gain the confidence to start going into ventures myself. So right now we're in the short-term rental space. So we have a few Airbnbs. I support my family in various ventures. One is the Zola Experience, which is a wellness experience. I'm the CFO of that. My parents are activists, and they have been my entire life. And I come from a long line of activists. My family has been in New Haven for over 120 years. Wow. And they've always, my great grandfather was a Garveyite. So this isn't anything that's new to us. It's just,
bringing it to the masses, right?
Exactly. And circling back, because that wasn't always something I was passionate about or even had a real clear understanding. So I feel like what we're doing right now is a culmination of all those things, because you can't move forward without having health and wellness in place, without having an education, without having the institutions, really the foundation of community. So I feel like the various places and experiences we've all been through have allowed us to come together and really be like this dynamic package of experience and energy that really allows us to do things that I haven't seen done before.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Arden.
And last but certainly not least,
that social mobility piece, just so we're already teaching our children about this stuff. Our children are entrepreneurs, and the whole social mobility piece, explaining what that means. And that's what my educational and career trajectory has been for me, just understanding, like you said, T, people want to know, they want to know your credentials. Right. So I see it as a game, so I'm a lifelong learner, so I enjoy academics, always have. I've been an educator since I was a little girl. I had a few dials, but I enjoyed playing school. My grandmother had a part-time job cleaning banks, and the administrative supplies that were being thrown out, I took them so I could play administrator. So I ended up going to career high school, majoring in the business management program at Career High, one of the first magnet schools here, and when that whole movement started. Went to Howard University for a year. Chose not to stay, so I went and inherited a bunch of student loan debt. I transferred to Southern Connecticut State University, where I received my BA in English. Went back to Maryland, where I knew I would live the moment I stepped out of the car as a Howard University freshman. And all of my jobs have always been in the field of education somehow. So I was working at the National Alliance of Black School Educators in DC, a nonprofit, when the calling to teach came. There was a teacher shortage, right? This is nothing new, y'all. There was a teacher shortage in the early 2000s, and they were calling on professionals to come out of their careers and go into the classroom. So that's when I became a teacher in Prince George's County, Maryland. Taught in the DC Charter School for a year. Spent some time at my father's alcohol and substance abuse in an outpatient program he had in Houston, Texas for a year. Came back home, and just at the same time I was becoming a mother, I was finishing up my master's degree in a very alternative program at a little small institute in Bethany, Connecticut, called the Graduate Institute. So I ended up with this degree called Conscious Evolution, just because it sounded interesting to me, and I wanted to like that sounds interesting. And then Connecticut requires a master's degree within 5 years of teaching. So not even knowing that at that time, I was satisfying that requirement for there. Became a mother, knew I would stay home at that point. I didn't want to work until they could tell me what was happening wherever I had to send them. But I got used to not working for someone else at that point. So my sister and I established a daycare in New Haven for about 6 years. So that's the first school I actually established. Um, Finished that degree, closed the daycare, and Sage evolved. And now I am currently in the Yale Access to Law Fellowship Program pursuing the JD.
All right. All right.
These are
Yeah.
three dynamic women with incredibly rich histories. I'm curious about who you want to reach through the elements. Who are the people that the elements wants to attract, that wants to be you want to be involved?
It's so funny because we just had this conversation last night.
No, this morning.
Well, yeah, 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
But-
And keep that right there before you tell us that. For me, sitting here, like I said, I wanted it to be organic. I really wasn't understanding what was going on until I said, take us back. So by you talking about, which piqued my interest, and I know, again, you guys got to understand the show. This is the Brainiac. So you got to talk to someone like me where I got to sit back and say, what are they talking about? But when you went into congestive heart failure, you got my attention immediately because my mom, rest in peace, passed away from that. So you grabbed my attention. You're talking about reading labels on the food. I'm very into that, working out and staying fit. When you got into entrepreneurship, you got my attention there. And of course, I know Arden's background as far as education, so that helped. So that was really important. So now people watching, we understand. People like me understand. Gigi already understood. I need to understand. So to answer Gigi's question, to bring you guys back up, who are you trying to reach?
Oof. We're trying to reach the community at large. I know we have our target audience, and I think naturally we connect with mothers because of it being our experience of, really needing the sense of community and sisterhood. I think we all came from various ways, and how we ended up together was no accident. I was going through significant transition, relocating home, going through divorce, raising children, trying to figure out what it was to co-parent and raise children in a different kind of environment. And I attracted, these strong, amazing women who were navigating and able to provide that support. So understanding how critical that need for community, like we are communal beings. And so that's how it developed. And that's kind of where, the idea of restoration came in. Like, women, we take on all of these things. And I could only speak to it from that space because that's who I am. But in the broader understanding, we have male counterparts, we have our significant others, our brothers, our fathers, and we understand there's a need there too. So from a community standpoint, it was how do we create space, safe space, for us all to come together and do things that are productive. Yes, indulge is one of those experiences that allows you to, it's enjoyment, it's part entertainment, but it's always pleasure, but it's always education too. And it's how do we bond? How do we, because as a community, we're also, there's so many fragments and pockets, and we're operating in silos, and you think that you're the only one going through what have you. But how do we create space where, no, we have more commonalities than we do differences? And my favorite proverb is, you can go fast alone, but we can go farther together. So how do we do that? So the community is our target market, but from the business standpoint and like honing in on specifics, the various things that we do target specifically different things. So where breaking bread might be for the whole family, or older families, well, not older families, but families with children who are looking for ways to connect in that way. Restoration might be for professional women, or just mothers who are looking for an outlet.
You got to fill your cup so we can keep giving to all the things that we give to.
Absolutely. And then we have community events where we really want to expose the community to just a broader understanding. And I know for myself, coming from New Haven, there is something significant about leaving and coming back. Like just the mentality and the viewpoint.
We all have
and how
common, right? I think we all have.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you see it very clearly in your interactions with others who may not have, the same exposure. So there is the need to know that, we can be more impactful, to be able to open people's minds up to the possibilities. To reimagine community. So that's really the goal. So again, the community, our people is our target market,
Okay.
but we do have
And we
specific.
breaking barriers. I think it's
Yeah.
through the events, the way we break the events up. We can reach everybody. We don't have to follow that business model of narrow it down.
Right.
No, because the community spans the babies to the elders.
Absolutely.
And we
So
want to touch
we're
everybody.
curating experience to make sure they all get hit and to bring it to you, Teef, so you can really understand it.
Right.
If we have to be forced to say that target audience, it's probably us. It's those of us in our peer group, Teef and Gigi, who don't want to go past the chasmos. We want them to know that you are one of us. Like, you could come into these spaces, like, I'm still going to Chasmos. They probably going with me, but I might go to Chasmos, but I want to also go to Martha's Vineyard.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we're going downtown, right? Like, go
Absolutely.
downtown to,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
It's
it.
all ours.
It
You
is.
know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's
right.
all ours. And we want to support all of it.
And we, and
So
also
what I
not-
hear when in listening to the three of you, I hear themes of reclamation, right? Like reclaiming and restoration. And so I'm thinking, so that's something that you all are doing here in New Haven, but it's a theme that I imagine is popping up in other places across the state. How would you encourage other groups? You all came together very organically. What are some ways that people that want to really bring about restoration, community restoration, reclamation of traditions and cultural values, what are some ways you would encourage other people in other places to do some of what you're doing here?
Good question, Jay.
Well, I think it's the model. You know, like, I think what it is that we are doing is creating a model and utilizing a plan that we know to work as far as how do we engage people, because we want this duplicated. We can't be in every space, even though we might want to connect with people in various areas so that they have the support to do the same thing. But we would ideally want to see this happen nationally and globally. You know, like it is a movement. It's a movement of togetherness. It's a movement of love. It's a movement of connectivity. So how do we do that? We continue to network. We continue to open our arms. We want to create a model that can be duplicated, you know, maybe an association or something in that regard, so that you're not starting from scratch. But it really is about making
But you
those.
do have to start from scratch.
You do.
You gotta do the work.
You gotta do, and you gotta
it's required. You
Right.
You got the people have to want the connection.
Right.
So it starts really with the self.
It does. And also seeking your tribe, right? So I was clear that I wanted support, right, with my children. And so I met Arden Fire, and then I met from Fire, she and I built, and then through that I met Sister Wynn. So I was being clear on what you want, right? And just seeking out your tribe, because there are people.
And you don't even have to seek.
No, you don't have to say, you tell the universe what you want. Absolutely.
It just comes.
Yes.
You find it. You know, and it's through people and experiences.
And it sounds like by stating it, right? But first stating, this is a direction that I want to go in individually, and then being able to seek that out. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, I would encourage, this idea of community building. I know through the pandemic and through what the Black and Brown community experienced, and really the world, the nation at least, experienced with what we saw with George Floyd and just the trauma of sort of racial disparities, that people were looking for other ways to be. We knew that what was can't continue. And so I found there were lots of these conversations, but y'all have put it to action and are really creating space making, it sounds like. So I tip my hat to you all. It's really beautiful, creating an opportunity for people to connect in meaningful ways.
Absolutely.
That's it. You all get it.
So guys, so basically, so that person in Cleveland, that person in Philadelphia that's watching this, LA, they're sitting back, they watch all of our episodes and they say, I'm tuning in, okay, Wednesday night at 6. Okay, who are these girls? They're saying that. Now, how do they reach you? Do you have a website?
Yes, we do.
TheElements.world.
Okay, good. Elements.world. Okay, great. That's beautiful, beautiful. Now, this is our part right here, is open dialogue, meaning you can tell us whatever you guys got going on. Are you guys working on a book together? What do you guys got going on? Please tell us.
Right. We just doing
So it also depends on when this airs.
Okay.
But we do have an event coming up that is directly focused on community building, and like we spoke about, a plan that we are inheriting, that allows for just what we're speaking of, a resident or, community led process of you having our voice coming together with a collective message so that we can then have our voice heard to allow for the solutions that we know we need that can't come from the top down. So that's something that we're going to be introducing this weekend, April 8th. And we're going to have 2 events it's a weekend, a tribute that's going to take place on that Saturday. The daytime is a community fair that's open. It's free to the public to come to meet us. Families, there's activities for youth. There are going to be vendors. So we're economic development. There's going to be an open mic pitch for entrepreneurs. So we want you to come out. We want you to talk to the community. You got 2 minutes to do your elevator speech, Tell us who you are, where you are. You might not have a website. It might even still be in the beginning stages, but we're here to support, and we don't know what we don't know. So how do we make those connections? And it's by, having these conversations and creating these platforms for people to connect. And
so
then
that's Saturday, April 8th. And that where is that happening?
At Concord on Newhall. Right outside of Newhallville in Hamden. And then we have an evening event that's going to be at Next Haven on Henry Street. And that's from 7 to 9. And that's going to be a reception networking event. It's also a tribute to my father, Mustafa Abdul Salam, who turned 70. And he created, he's the creator of a plan that was implemented in Ward 8 of Washington, D.C., one of the, most underserved parts of the nation's capital. And it actually came to fruition and has been, very instrumental in moving and successful in moving that community forward. So it's something that is very much duplicatable. And we want to share that we have solutions among us that we know work.
Linktree in NHV CEB tribute.
Okay.
All the information is there.
Wonderful. Okay. Good.
So we'll put that on the screen.
And then on the 8th, that's the 8th.
Yeah.
And then the next event is June 13th, International Festival of Arts and Ideas on the Green at noon. Just go to the International Festival of Arts and Ideas website and you'll get that. And we're following that up that Saturday, June 17th with Beards and Stilettos. So we are inviting Philly. We inviting New York. Come through. That is also at the Next Haven Penthouse. Okay. So that is, find that on our website, theelements.world/indulge. And Cleveland, Texas, whoever.
Bama does fly to New Haven.
You want to do something? Call us. We'll come out and help you get it done.
Yes. Wonderful.
Okay, thank
I
you.
wish you much success with all of these events. May they proliferate. May they be many more opportunities for y'all. This is amazing.
Thank you guys so much for coming on our podcast. But before we end, we have a very important question for you. My partner.
If you've watched, you know the question. So my question for you is, are you ready? Name your top 3 favorite podcasts. Starting with your most favorite.
Jazzy Conversations. Jazzy Conversations. Okay. Labors of Love. Thinking out loud with the elements. And Labors of Love podcast.
Ladies, we truly appreciate it. We wanted to give you guys the opportunity to come on the show. We wanted to hear your story. Yes. The world has heard your story. We're very excited. This will play very soon. On behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Ladies, have a great night. Take care.
Thank you. So good.
Oh, gee, that was great.
Teef, these were 3 dynamic women. I promise you they would be.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I like the fact that they're from our hometown, New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes.
So to have them speak about what they're doing in this community was huge.
Absolutely. Organization formed from sisterhood, which is beautiful. I love what they had to share.
That was a big pickup. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for
Yes.
introducing them. They caught me with the part of once I was able to say, okay, tell me what's going on. And when she just broke it down to me, that helped me out a lot.
Yeah,
so
that
then I was able to
breakdown.
catch on.
That's
I was
right.
able to catch
How they
on.
started. Absolutely.
So truly enjoyed that. Okay, G. So next week we'll be doing it again.
Oh, always right. You know who do we?
Next week is
Oh
my goodness, big one, right? A big one. We're bringing on a celebrity that Gigi, everyone tuned in is going to be amazed by. This comedian.
I knew that this was the comedian. I was like, I need to jog my memory.
It's gonna
Yes.
bust everyone like, wow, I remember this guy. This guy is. So
I'm
make
not
sure
sure
you.
if this one is for the children. It'll be like-
So you guys make sure you tune in
Yes.
next week, okay? On
Yes.
behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Have a great night.